In the idyllic town of Willow Creek, where rolling hills cradled a charming community, the love story of John and Emma Thompson unfolded over 3 decades. Their journey commenced at Willow Creek University, a campus that witnessed the blossoming of their romance. College sweethearts, John and Emma were inseparable during those formative years. Emma Anderson, a brilliant mind with dreams as vast as the open sky, hailed from a comfortably well-off family. Her parents, Richard and Susan Anderson, exemplified a close-knit family, their home resonating with laughter and love. Evenings were spent around the dinner table, sharing stories of the day with younger siblings, Eva and Dave.
You'll make history one day with that brilliant mind of yours,
her father Richard often said, a twinkle in his eye, as Emma blushed and smiled, humbled by her family's unwavering support. On the morning Emma stepped onto Willow Creek University's campus for her freshman year, the sun cast a warm glow. Her family gathered in the cozy living room to wish her well. Susan beamed with pride, adjusting Emma's blouse, while Richard, with pride and nostalgia, remarked,
"Seems like just yesterday you were learning to ride a bike. Now you're off to university. Time flies."
As Emma made her way to the university, her mind buzzed with dreams and aspirations. Her parents had instilled a passion for learning, providing resources for their children's dreams. On the sprawling campus, Emma found herself immersed in a world of possibilities. The historic buildings and vibrant student life echoed the dreams of countless young minds. In her dorm room, surrounded by the promise of the future, Emma whispered to herself, "You've got this," glancing at the framed family photo, a reminder of her responsibility towards Dave and Eva as her eyes sparkled with determination. In the morning light, the opulent Thompson mansion in Willow Creek stood in stark contrast to the cozy Anderson home. While the Andersons thrived on love, the Thompsons epitomized wealth and privilege, their affluence anchored in John Thompson's position as their heir to the renowned Thompsons Group. Michael Thompson, the patriarch, was immersed in the demands of his business empire, leaving little time for family. His relationship with Amanda, his wife, had transformed into a business arrangement, and Amanda, preoccupied with maintaining her lifestyle, overlooked familial connections. John, the sole heir, differed from his family's lavish lifestyle. Unlike his father, he had no interest in the family business, and unlike his mother, he sought genuine connections over opulence. Yearning for love, John prepared for his first day at Willow Creek University, the mansion pulsating with disinterest.
"John, represent the family well. We have a reputation to uphold," Michael instructed, his focus on business reports, while Amanda urged John to make connections with influential people. Suppressing disappointment, John hesitated, then tentatively spoke up, suggesting a family dinner without distractions. Michael, engrossed in a call, brushed it aside, and Amanda laughed at the idea, citing important commitments. The room fell silent, the family's disconnection palpable. John's attempt at connection met resistance, the walls of indifference insurmountable. With a heavy heart, he left for Willow Creek University, where the vibrant campus felt a world away from the cold detachment at home. Wandering through the quad, John longed for more meaningful connections, the desire for genuine warmth lingering unspoken in his heart. John entered Willow Creek University's dorm, feeling a mix of freedom and isolation. His sterile room echoed his emotional disarray, a stark contrast to Emma's vibrant haven. Emma immersed herself in creating a cozy space with plants, lights, and family photos, while John's room reflected his emotional emptiness. As the night deepened, John's room remained shrouded in darkness, a silent battleground for his inner turmoil. Emma, however, filled her space with light and love, convinced that warmth could dispel darkness. In the quiet of the night, John questioned life's purpose and his family's indifference. Emma whispered to herself, affirming the power of love even in the smallest spaces. At dawn, Emma's room bathed in a soft glow, a stark contrast to John's dimness. Their rooms became symbols of their inner struggles, with Emma choosing love and light while John grappled with the shadows of his past. As Emma adorned her dorm with an array of plants, lights, and cherished family photos, there was a sudden knock on the door. Startled, she turned to find Ashley, her roommate, standing in the doorway.
"I was told this was my cabin,"
Ashley inquired, adjusting the strap of her bag that slid down her shoulder.
"Oh, I guess we're roommates then."
Emma's smile widened. She took a quick look at Ashley's baggage.
"Here, let me help you with that."
Emma easily picked up Ashley's heavy suitcase as if it were a feather and walked inside. Ashley's brows raised in surprise as she followed Emma into the dorm room. The sunlight streamed through the two big windows on either side of the front door, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere.
"Welcome, I'm Emma,"
Emma greeted, extending her hand. Ashley shook her hand.
"I'm Ashley. Nice to meet you,"
Ashley replied, setting her duffel bag next to Emma's suitcase. Emma leaned against the kitchen counter, sipping from a mug adorned with a line drawing of a puppy.
"Coffee?"
Emma offered, lifting the mug.
"Yes, thank you,"
Ashley eagerly accepted. As Emma prepared the coffee, Ashley shared more about herself. She was a sophomore, majoring in human resource management. Emma chuckled.
"Well, I do love to learn, and the university is my ticket to pursuing my dreams."
Ashley smiled.
"That's awesome, Emma. Oh, what are your dreams, by the way?"
Emma's eyes sparkled with determination.
"I want to start my own business someday. I've always been fascinated by entrepreneurship and making a positive impact."
Ashley nodded, impressed.
"That's incredible. I'm here to support you, roomie. By the way, what's with all the plants and lights? It looks amazing." Emma's face lit up. "I believe in creating a space that feels like home. Plants bring life and lights add warmth. Plus, these photos of my family remind me of the love that fuels my journey."
Ashley looked at the pictures.
"Family is everything, huh? I miss mine already. I'm from a small town nearby."
Emma empathized. "I get that. Willow Creek might be picturesque, but the transition can be challenging. We'll make this place feel like home together." As the two young women settled into their new dorm life, the shared space blended Emma's warmth and Ashley's vivacity. They spent evenings chatting about their hopes, dreams, and the challenges they faced. Emma's determination to create a supportive environment in her dorm extended beyond her family. It now included her newfound friend, Ashley. There was a knock on John's dorm door. Surprised, John opened the door to find Austin standing there with a wide smile that seemed to radiate positivity. The contrast between their personalities was evident. John, reserved and guarded, and Austin, exuberant and full of life.
"Hey there, I'm Austin, your new roommate," Austin said, extending a hand for a handshake.
John, though not accustomed to such cheerful greetings, welcomed Austin with a slight smile and a firm handshake. As Austin entered the room, he couldn't help but notice the stark difference in its ambience. Different from Emma's lively and cosy space, John's room felt cold and sterile. Undeterred, Austin began unpacking his luggage, placing it in a way that invited the warmth of the sunlight through the open windows.
"Man, this room needs some sunshine,"
Austin exclaimed, throwing the curtains wide open. The sunlight poured in, casting a bright glow that made John instinctively cover his face. Austin laughed.
"Whoa, didn't mean to blind you there, buddy. Let's let some light in, though."
As Austin continued to share his excitement about the upcoming semester and his transfer from New York, John listened attentively. Austin, majoring in human resource management, was animatedly describing his love for meeting new people and exploring new places. John, despite his reserved nature, found himself intrigued by Austin's vibrant personality. Austin, with genuine enthusiasm, suggested,
"How about some hot chocolate? I make the best on campus. It's my secret recipe."
John, not one to easily accept offers, hesitated but eventually agreed. In the dorm's kitchen area, Austin whipped up 2 cups of hot chocolate.
"You'll love this, trust me,"
he said, handing a cup to John. Despite his initial resistance, John took a sip and couldn't help but admit,
"It's not bad." Austin grinned. "Told you, my secret ingredient, a dash of positivity."
The 2 roommates chuckled and a subtle camaraderie began to form. As they sat in the dorm, Austin continued to share stories about his life and adventures in New York and his aspirations. John, usually guarded about his own life, found himself opening up to Austin, revealing snippets of his past and the challenges he faced within his family. Austin listened attentively, offering words of encouragement.
"Life's too short to be closed off, man. We're in this together as roommates, you know."
John, not accustomed to such openness, nodded appreciatively. The walls that had isolated him for so long seemed to crack ever so slightly in the presence of Austin's genuine friendliness. The sun rose over Willow Creek, signalling a new day for freshmen at the university. In one room, Emma and Ashley, still adjusting to their surroundings, awoke to chirping birds and the anticipation of their first official day. Nearby, John and Austin stirred, greeted by the promise of a fresh start. Austin, with infectious energy, exclaimed,
"Good morning, sunshine!"
to John, who, not accustomed to such enthusiasm, mumbled a response. As they prepared for the day, John observed Austin's carefree demeanour, a stark contrast to his sombre atmosphere. In another part of the dorm, Emma and Ashley exchanged greetings, ready for their first day with a mix of nerves and excitement. Emma chose a stylish outfit, while Ashley went for a laid-back ensemble. John and Austin, representing different personalities, joined the freshmen on their way to the orientation venue, sparking a mix of excitement and curiosity. Emma and Ashley entered from one side, chatting animatedly, while John and Austin shared friendly jokes entered from the other. As fate would have it, Emma and John's eyes met upon entering the room, an instant connection sparking between them, transcending the bustling atmosphere. Their exchanged smiles lingered, promising something more profound. Emma, confidently approachable, took the initiative. "Hi, I'm Emma Anderson. Nice to meet you." John, captivated by her warmth, introduced himself as John Thompson, withholding details about his family.
"A pleasure to meet you too, Emma."
During the orientation, Emma and Ashley found seats together, engaging in conversations with fellow students. On the other side, John and Austin settled in. Austin, exuberant as always, nudged John playfully during a break, encouraged him to embrace the buzzing energy and find new adventures. Throughout the day, the freshmen navigated activities and information sessions. Dialogues and laughter filled the room as they learnt about campus life, academic expectations, and the myriad opportunities the university offered. Destiny seemed to intervene, as Emma and John found themselves in the same group for campus tours. Exploring historic buildings and vibrant student hubs together, Emma's vibrancy and John's reserved nature hinted at a potential deeper connection. In the vibrant campus surroundings, Emma and John engaged in conversation. Emma, with sparkling blue eyes, shared her enthusiasm for the college experience. "I love the energy here," she exclaimed, gesturing to the bustling student life. John, less expressive, found himself drawn to Emma's positivity.
"How do you like it so far?"
John asked, curiosity in his voice. Emma smiled. "It's everything I imagined. The possibilities seem endless." Strolling through historic buildings and the canteen, Emma's passion resonated with John, who confessed,
"Endless possibilities, huh? I've always felt a bit lost, like I'm expected to follow a predetermined path that doesn't feel like mine."
As they walked, Emma sensed something profound beneath John's stoicism. I get it. It's easy to feel confined by expectations, but maybe here you can discover what truly feels right for you, she reassured him. The conversation turned to lighter topics, comfort foods, and shared laughter.
Classic grilled cheese for me. Simple but effective. How about you?
John asked, his guard lowering in their laughter. Emma grinned mischievously. Ah, grilled cheese enthusiast. I'm more of a chocolate chip cookie person. They fix everything, don't they? Reaching the canteen, Austin and Ashley had already settled in. The two pairs merged effortlessly, bonding over shared experiences. The day unfolded with laughter, shared stories, and the forging of new connections. As evening approached, the group dispersed to their respective dorms. Emma and John exchanged a friendly goodbye, a subtle acknowledgement of their budding connection. In the quiet of their dorm rooms, both reflected on the day's events. Surrounded by the warmth of her decorated space, Emma spoke softly to herself. Today was amazing. I can feel the potential for something beautiful here. Her eyes lingered on family photos, a reminder of the love that anchored her. In the neighbouring room, John sat in the dimly lit space, contemplating the day.
There's something about her,
he thought, a flicker of emotion breaking through his stoicism. The echo of Emma's laughter lingered in his mind, a stark contrast to the silence of his family mansion. As they both drifted into their thoughts, the promise of connection lingered in the air. The days unfolded, deepening the bond between Emma, John, Ashley and Austin. They attended classes together, explored the campus and shared meals, becoming a source of support and companionship. Austin's infectious energy seemed to break down John's walls, and the group grew into a close-knit circle. As time passed, Emma and John's connection strengthened, moving beyond laughter and stories to the more intimate aspects of their lives. Attending classes and exploring the campus together, Emma's positivity worked its way into the icy walls around John's heart. One sunny afternoon, Austin suggested a picnic to celebrate their friendship, which met with unanimous approval. Emma took charge of the planning, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. The group eagerly pitched in, surprising John with how effortlessly the planning unfolded. In the dorm kitchen, they spent the evening chopping fruits, assembling sandwiches, and sharing stories. Laughter echoed through the hallways, creating warmth and connection that John had rarely experienced. The day of the picnic arrived, and the group gathered into a picturesque campus park. They spread out a cozy blanket, unpacked the delicious spread, and revelled in each other's company. Amidst the laughter, Ashley and Austin found a quiet corner, leaving Emma and John a moment of privacy. Turning to John with a genuine smile, Emma broached a more personal topic. Hey, John, I've been meaning to ask you about your family. You mentioned they have a big business, right? John's expression shifted momentarily, a flicker of hesitation crossing his face. Sensing his discomfort, Emma quickly reassured him. Oh, sorry if it's too personal. You don't have to share if you're not comfortable. For a moment, John remained silent, his gaze fixed on the rippling water of the lake. Emma gently touched his arm, expressing her concern. Oh, John, I didn't mean to pry. We're friends and I care about you, but if it's too much, we can talk about something else. Prompted by Emma's warmth, John opened up in a way he hadn't before.
No, it's okay, he began slowly. My family is wealthy, but it's also empty. There's no real connection, just a facade of success. It gets lonely, he shared, offering Emma a glimpse into his life.
Emma listened attentively, her eyes filled with empathy. I'm sorry to hear that, John, but you're not alone anymore. We're here for you, especially me. Friends stick together through thick and thin. Feeling a newfound sense of trust, John hesitated before asking about Emma's family. As she shared glimpses of warmth, laughter, and unwavering support, John felt a pang of longing. Yet in the shared laughter and camaraderie of the day, he found solace. As the group packed up their picnic, leaving with hearts full of memories, Emma expressed gratitude for the incredible day. Her eyes lingered on John, who met her gaze with a silent acknowledgement. As they bid each other good night, Emma whispered, "Remember, we're here for you, John. Always." In the quiet of his room, John reflected on the day. He felt a sense of belonging he hadn't known before, and Emma's kindness resonated within him. The walls around his heart seemed to crumble further, allowing room for the possibility of genuine connection. John and Emma were leaving the campus building after their classes, and the vibrant atmosphere of the university enveloped them. The sun was still shining, casting a warm glow on the campus grounds. They walked side by side, the hum of conversation and laughter filling the air as students hurriedly passed by. Emma turned to John with a smile. "So, how was your day?" John, feeling more comfortable in Emma's presence, replied,
"Oh, not bad. The classes were fine. How about yours?"
Emma's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "Oh, I loved it. Especially that psychology lecture. It was so fascinating." As they chatted, they noticed a familiar sight in the distance. The canteen, a hub of activity where students gathered to grab a bite between classes. The aroma of food wafted through the air, and the lively chatter hinted at the popularity of the place. John and Emma continued their stroll, the conversation flowing effortlessly. Suddenly, their attention was drawn to a couple sitting at a table near the canteen entrance. Ashley and Austin. The two of them were gazing into each other's eyes, sharing a moment that seemed straight out of a romantic movie. John and Emma exchanged surprised glances, their eyes widening. They couldn't help but smile at the unexpected sight. As they approached Ashley and Austin, the couple didn't seem to notice their friends approaching. Emma nudged John. "Well, look at that. It seems like our friends have been up to something." John chuckled.
"Yeah, looks like it."
As they reached the table, they decided to have a little fun and approached with exaggerated shock. Emma gasped. "Oh my goodness, what is happening here?" John added.
"I leave you two alone for a minute and this is what happens?"
Ashley and Austin looked up, momentarily flustered, but then burst into laughter. Ashley playfully rolled her eyes. "Come on, you two, we're just enjoying each other's company." Austin grinned.
"Yeah, we've got a little announcement to make."
Emma raised an eyebrow. "An announcement? Oh, do tell." With a mischievous twinkle in his eye, Austin declared,
"Ashley and I are officially a couple."
The revelation was met with excited cheers from John and Emma. They congratulated their friends, genuinely happy for them. Emma teased, Well, well, it seems like love is in the air." John smirked.
"Who would have thought our little picnic would lead to this?"
Ashley blushed. "It happened during the picnic. Austin asked me out and I said yes." Austin added,
"And now we're here, madly in love."
John and Emma exchanged amused glances, and John couldn't help but tease,
"Guess love finds its way even amid sandwiches and chocolate chip cookies."
As the group continued chatting and laughing, Emma couldn't help but feel a warmth in her heart. Seeing Ashley and Austin so happy together was a reminder that love could blossom unexpectedly, even in the most ordinary moments. After a while, the four friends decided to grab some food and find a cozy spot to sit. They gathered their trays and settled at a table, continuing their lively conversation. Emma nudged John. "Who would have thought our friends were hiding such a sweet love story?" John smiled.
"Yeah, it's a pleasant surprise. They make a great couple."
The group spent the afternoon sharing stories and enjoying each other's company. Ashley and Austin were lost in their world, exchanging glances and stealing occasional sweet gestures. As the day unfolded, Emma couldn't help but glance at John now and then. There was a growing connection between them, and the shared moments with their friends only seemed to deepen it. John, too, found himself drawn to Emma's positivity and genuine nature. After a while, as the sun began to set, the friends decided to call it a day. Ashley and Austin lost in their world and exchanged a quick kiss before parting ways. Emma grinned. Well, it seems our friends are head over heels. What do you think, John? John chuckled.
Yeah, they're smitten. Good for them.
As they walked away from the canteen, John and Emma found themselves alone, the campus bathed in the soft hues of twilight. There was a comfortable silence between them, the air filled with unspoken emotions. Emma broke the silence. You know, John, today has been incredible. I never expected to find such amazing friends so soon. John nodded.
Yeah, it's been a good day.
Emma glanced at him. And you, how are you feeling? John hesitated for a moment before responding.
I don't know. It's different, you know? I'm not used to all of this, but I kind of like it.
Emma smiled. Change can be a good thing, John. Sometimes it brings us exactly what we need. As they continued walking, Emma couldn't help but feel a growing connection with John. She sensed that he was gradually opening up, letting go of the walls that had surrounded him. As they approached the dorms, Emma and John noticed Ashley and Austin in the common area, still wrapped up in each other. The sight brought smiles to both John and Emma's faces. John teased,
Looks like they're going to be busy for a while. We should probably leave them to it.
Emma laughed. Agreed. Let's give them some space. As they reached the point where their paths diverged, Emma turned to John with a warm smile. Well, it's been quite a day, hasn't it? John nodded, a faint smile playing on his lips.
Yeah, it has. Thanks for making it special.
Emma's eyes sparkled as she replied, No, thank you, John. Today wouldn't have been the same without you. She paused for a moment, a hint of hesitation in her gaze. Well, I guess it's time to call it a night. See you around? John hesitated for a moment, the unspoken words hanging in the air. He took a deep breath, then called out,
Emma?
She turned around, facing John with curiosity in her blue eyes. Yeah, John? A moment of silence lingered before John, with a mischievous glint in his eyes, asked,
What do you think love is?
Emma was caught off guard, her cheeks flushing with a mix of surprise and confusion. Love? Well, it's, being with someone you genuinely appreciate who they are, being each other's comfort zone and, winning them daily even if you're together through all your efforts. Doing everything for them out of love. To be more precise, I want to love like my parents have. John was awestruck by Emma's heartfelt response. Her words resonated with him, touching a chord deep within.
That's beautiful.
Suddenly he burst into laughter, surprising Emma. What's so funny? She asked, her confusion evident. John grinned.
I was just joking. I wanted to know your point of view.
Emma's confusion turned into a playful glare. You got me there, John. I thought you were being serious. John chuckled.
No harm done, but seriously, Emma, your perspective on love is amazing.
As they continued walking, the atmosphere between them shifted. The laughter of a moment ago lingered, but there was something more. An unspoken connection that seemed to grow stronger. Seizing the moment, John decided to push the boundaries a bit.
So what kind of guy are you into?
He asked, a teasing smile playing on his lips. Emma blushed, realizing where this conversation might lead. Well, he has to be calm, caring, and tall, she replied, her gaze avoiding John's. John, all flustered and being straightforward, boldly stated,
Funny enough, I possess all those qualities.
Emma looked at him, her blue eyes meeting his with a mix of surprise and amusement. John? He nodded.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you something.
Emma, now fully intrigued, asked, Ask me what? John took a step closer, the playful glint in his eyes.
Can I pursue you, Emma Anderson?
Emma was taken aback, her cheeks flushing even more. She stammered, Pursue me? What do you mean? John, assuring her, continued.
I've been checking you out since the first time I laid eyes on you, and I've slowly developed feelings for you. I want us to be more than just friends.
Emma, flustered and blushing, looked at him with a slight smile, a mixture of surprise and confusion on her face. Encouraged by her reaction, John took another step closer and asked,
"Can I be your boyfriend, Emma Anderson?"
Emma was visibly flustered, her mind racing. She looked at John, the warmth in her eyes contrasting with the uncertainty of her face. John, I need some time to think about it." John nodded, a smile on his face.
"Of course, Emma, take your time. I'll see you around."
They said their goodbyes, and as Emma headed to her dorm, John couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. The night was filled with possibilities, and the campus seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the answer to a question that could change everything. Emma entered her room, a whirlwind of emotions engulfing her. Confused yet exhilarated, she knew her friendship with John was about to shift. Sitting on her bed, she replayed the day's events, laughter, shed glances, and John's unexpected confession. Blushing at his bold proposal, Emma felt a flutter in her chest, realizing their connection was deeper than she thought. Reminiscing about their moments, she smiled, genuinely happy around John. Lost in thoughts, Emma admitted she wasn't prepared for her feelings to evolve. Yet the prospect of a romantic connection excited her. She admired John's considerate nature, appreciating traits now potentially something more. Taking a deep breath, she embraced the uncertainty, whispering, "Why not? Life's full of surprises." The next day, Emma awoke with anticipation, wanting to make a statement. Choosing a cute dress with cherry prints and adding makeup, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, ready to explore this romantic journey with John. Walking into the classroom, Emma noticed John was already seated. Their eyes met, and a warm exchange of smiles ensued. As she took the seat next to him, John couldn't help but compliment her.
"You look beautiful today, Emma."
Her cheeks flushed with a mixture of happiness and bashfulness. She thanked him with a shy smile, feeling the warmth of his genuine compliment. Drawing closer to him, she whispered, "The answer is yes, John." John, momentarily stunned, asked,
"Yes? Yes what?"
Emma giggled softly. "Yes, I've thought about it and I want to give this a try." The realization hit John, and a broad grin spread across his face. Blushing and filled with joy, he hesitated before asking,
"So are we officially boyfriend and girlfriend?"
Emma nodded with confidence. "Yes, John Thompson, we are." As the class concluded, they made their way to the campus canteen together. John, still absorbing the reality of the situation, couldn't help but feel a mix of happiness and nervousness. The idea of officially being in a relationship with Emma was sinking in, and he couldn't be more thrilled. While sitting in the canteen, Austin and Ashley spotted them from a distance. Excitement flickered in Ashley's eyes as she nudged Austin, pointing toward the newly formed couple. They approached with eager smiles, and Ashley couldn't contain her excitement. "Are you guys for real? When did this happen?" Emma blushed and John chuckled.
"It's all still sinking in, but yes, we're officially together."
Austin gave John a playful pat on the back.
"Well done, my man. I knew something was brewing between you two."
Emma blushed and John looked at her with a soft expression. The friends congratulated the newly declared couple, and the atmosphere was happy. As they continued chatting, John hesitated for a moment. He glanced at Emma and, with a newfound boldness, decided to hold her hand. His hand inched closer to hers, and Emma, sensing his hesitation, gently intertwined her fingers with his. The warmth of the connection sent a thrill through John's entire being. Emma looked at John, her blue eyes reflecting the happiness within. "This feels right," she whispered, a sentiment that echoed in John's heart. As they sat together, Emma and John basked in the warmth of their friend's support. Ashley couldn't resist teasing. "Love truly does find its way, even amid sandwiches and chocolate chip cookies." John chuckled.
You're right, Ashley. Life has a way of surprising us.
The group spent the day together, the dynamic subtly shifting as Emma and John navigated this new chapter. Holding hands felt natural, and the stolen glances exchanged between them spoke volumes. The shared laughter and camaraderie remained, but now there was an added layer of affection. As the day came to an end, Ashley and Austin couldn't help but express their joy for Emma and John. Austin grinned.
Who would have thought the picnic would lead to this?
Emma, looking at John, smiled. Well, sometimes unexpected turns are the most beautiful ones. With that, the four friends parted ways, each couple immersed in their newfound connection. Emma and John walked together toward their dorms. Their fingers intertwined, and the campus seemed to glow with the promise of new beginnings. In the quiet of the evening, under the soft glow of campus lights, John looked at Emma and couldn't help but express his gratitude.
Thank you for giving us a chance, Emma.
Emma squeezed his hand. No, thank you, John. I never expected this, but I'm so glad it happened. As they reached the entrance of Emma's dorm, John hesitated for a moment. With a soft smile, Emma said, Well, I guess it's good night. John, looking into her eyes, couldn't resist teasing.
Good night, Emma. Oh, and by the way, I'm still curious about what you think love is.
Emma laughed. You got your answer, didn't you? John chuckled.
I did, but I just like hearing it.
Emma, playfully rolling her eyes, whispered, Love, John, is us right here, right now. And with that they shared a sweet goodnight kiss, the promise of a new chapter unfolding between them. The campus, now quieter, held the echoes of laughter and the whispers of a budding romance. Under the sprawling branches of the ancient oak tree on their university campus, John and Emma embarked on their first date. The atmosphere buzzed with an undeniable excitement, and the air seemed to shimmer with the promise of something magical. As John waited for Emma, he couldn't help but feel a flutter of nervousness mixed with anticipation. He had planned a small, intimate date under the iconic tree, wanting it to be a memorable experience for both of them. Dressed in a t-shirt tucked into wide-leg trousers, he looked around the campus, his heart racing with excitement. Finally, he spotted Emma approaching. The sight of her took his breath away. Emma wore a short skirt paired with a t-shirt and sneakers, her hair pulled back into a playful ponytail. John felt a surge of pride, and as she reached him, he couldn't resist kissing her on the cheek.
You look stunning, Emma, I mean it,
he said, his eyes filled with genuine admiration. Emma blushed, her cheeks turning a delightful shade of pink. And you, John, you clean up pretty well in those wide-leg trousers. Handsome, if I may say so. John grinned, appreciating her compliment.
Well, I had to make sure I matched up to the most beautiful woman in this entire university.
Emma laughed, playfully nudging him. Smooth talker, aren't you? As they settled under the ancient oak tree, John couldn't contain his excitement any longer. He handed her a small box tied with a ribbon, a twinkle in his eyes.
I have a little surprise for you.
Emma's eyes lit up and she eagerly opened the box, revealing a batch of beautifully baked chocolate chip cookies. The sweet aroma wafted through the air and her face lit up with delight. No way! These look amazing! Where did you get them? She exclaimed, reaching for a cookie.
John chuckled. Oh, actually, I made them. Thought I'd surprise you with my secret cookie-making skills.
Emma's eyes widened in surprise. You made these? Seriously? John, you're full of surprises. He nodded, a hint of pride in his voice.
You're the first person to taste my cooking. Glad you like them.
Emma, munching on a cookie, couldn't hide her joy. Between bites, she managed to say, These are incredible. You can make these for me anytime. John smiled, his heart warmed by her reaction.
How about I make them for you forever?
Emma, caught in the moment, moved closer to John. She placed a gentle kiss on his cheek and whispered, Thank you, love. The term endearment hung in the air, creating a sweet, intimate moment between them. John felt a surge of affection for Emma, realizing that this was just the beginning of their journey together. While the sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow on everything around them, John and Emma continued their date. They talked about their favourite books, shared aspirations, and revelled in the simplicity of being together. As the evening progressed, John looked at Emma with a twinkle in his eye.
You know what, Emma? I'm glad I met you. This feels so effortless, like we've known each other for so much longer.
Emma smiled. I feel the same, John. It's like we just click, you know? He nodded.
Exactly, and there's something about you that makes everything brighter. I can be myself around you.
Emma, touched by his words, reached for his hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. I feel the same way, John. It's rare to find someone you connect with on such a deep level. As they continued to enjoy the cookies and each other's company, the conversation flowed effortlessly. They talked about their families and dreams and shared silly anecdotes from their childhoods. The laughter echoed under the ancient oak tree, blending seamlessly with the rustle of the leaves and the gentle breeze. Fast forward 30 years. John and Emma Thompson found themselves basking in the warmth of their 3-decade-long journey of marriage. The years had woven a tapestry of love, shared dreams, and countless memories. Celebrating their enduring bond, they gathered with Austin and Ashley, their dear friends who had been witnesses to the evolution of their love story. The occasion was grand, filled with laughter, toasts, and the joyful chatter of their 4 children. Seated around a beautifully adorned table, adorned with flowers and candles, the couples reminisced about the twists and turns that life had thrown their way. Glasses clinked as they raised a toast to the enduring power of love. John, with a twinkle in his eye, looked at Emma and said,
Can you believe it's been 30 years, love? Feels like just yesterday we were under the ancient oak tree on our first date.
Emma chuckled, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? I remember those chocolate chip cookies like it was yesterday. Austin, chiming in, teased,
John, did you ever imagine that your cookie-making skills would play a crucial role in your love story?
John laughed.
Not in my wildest dreams, but hey, it worked wonders, didn't it?
Amid the banter, Ashley couldn't help but reflect. You two were always meant to be. I remember that day when Emma said yes. It feels like we've been on this journey together. Their children, a mix of sons and daughters, listened with wide-eyed fascination. Emma turned to them, her eyes filled with maternal warmth. Kids, let me tell you about the day your dad asked me to be his girlfriend. The room filled with laughter and joy as Emma recounted the story of John's bold proposal. The children exchanged amused glances, finding it hard to believe their parents were once young lovers with their share of romantic escapades. As the night unfolded, John couldn't help but express his gratitude.
Thank you, Emma, for saying yes all those years ago. I wouldn't trade these 30 years for anything.
Emma, squeezing his hand, replied, And thank you for making every moment special. I can't imagine my life without you, John. Their conversation took a turn to the challenges they faced and the strength their love provided in overcoming them. Austin shared how the Thompson group had flourished under John's leadership, while Emma talked about the hurdles and triumphs of her food business. John, looking at Emma with admiration, said,
You've built something incredible, love. I'm so proud of you.
Emma smiled, And you, my dear, have been the anchor in our lives. Your support made all the difference. Amidst the celebration, John couldn't resist a moment of reflection.
Remember our first apartment? It was tiny. It felt like a castle because we were together.
Emma nodded. Oh, those were the days. We had each other, a shared dream and not much else, and it was perfect. Their laughter resonated through the room, weaving a melody that echoed the enduring nature of their love. The night continued with shared stories, hearty laughter and moments of quiet reflection. As the celebration neared its end, John and Emma found themselves lying next to each other, their hands entwined. The room was filled with comfortable silence, broken only by the distant laughter of their children in another part of the house. John, breaking the silence, said,
Do you remember what you said under the oak tree on our first date?
Emma chuckled. Of course I do. I said love is us. Right here, right now. John grinned, and it still holds. I love you, Emma. Emma, looking into his eyes, whispered, I love you too, John. Here's to us and many more years of laughter, love, and chocolate chip cookies. With that, they shared a sweet, lingering kiss, sealing their commitment to a lifetime of shared joy and companionship, held the echoes of a love that had weathered the passage of time and emerged stronger than ever. The room was bathed in a soft glow from the bedside lamp as Emma snuggled closer to John. The air was filled with a comfortable silence, broken only by the gentle hum of the night. With a mischievous glint in her eye, Emma suddenly turned to John and asked, Hey, John, do you believe in love at first sight? John's eyes widened for a moment and he chuckled.
Well, I didn't believe it until I met you. It was more like love at first conversation for us, wasn't it?
Emma laughed. True. We did have some pretty amazing conversations right from the start. Okay, your turn. What's the craziest thing you've ever done for love? John scratched his head.
Well, aside from baking you those cookies, I once wrote you a love letter in the pouring rain. It got all smudged, but I guess the sentiment was there.
Emma giggled. That's sweet, John. Smudged love letters and chocolate chip cookies. You know the way to my heart. Okay, here's a tricky one. Have you ever been in love before me? John's expression shifted slightly, and he hesitated for a moment. Emma looked at him intently and playfully nudged his arms. Come on, spill the beans, John. Am I your first love? John cleared his throat, his eyes flickering as he spoke hesitantly.
Well, Emma, there was someone back in my senior year of high school, but it was nothing. Just a school crush, you know?
Emma raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Oh? Tell me more. What was she like? John stammered.
Well, she was nice. We went to a few school dances together and shared a few laughs, but it was nothing compared to what I have with you. Emma, you're the one that matters.
Emma grinned. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And for the record, you're my first love too, and the only one that matters. With a shared laugh, they shifted gears, and John decided to steer the conversation in a different direction.
Okay, your turn now. What made you fall in love with me?
Emma looked at him with a thoughtful expression. It's hard to pinpoint one thing, John. I guess it's the way you make me feel. The way you support me, and of course those cookies didn't hurt.
John chuckled. Glad the cookies played a role. And when did you realize you loved me?
Emma smiled. Oh, that's an easy one. It was during our late-night talks under the oak tree. I felt this warmth, this connection, and I just knew. As their conversation meandered through more memories and shared moments, a sense of contentment settled over them. The night grew quieter, and as they lay side by side, John asked one final question.
Emma, do you believe in forever love?
Emma gazed into his eyes, her heart full. Absolutely, John. With you, forever sounds just about right. With that affirmation, they shared a final kiss, the weight of their shared history and enduring love, providing a sense of security as they drifted into a peaceful sleep, hand in hand. The room, now filled with the quiet rhythm of their breathing, held the promise of a lifetime together. The night had been still, the moon casting a gentle glow through the curtains as Emma stirred awake. She needed to use the restroom, and she tiptoed to the bathroom. She cast a loving glance at John, still peacefully asleep. After a quick trip to the washroom, Emma found herself at the sink, rubbing her eyes. But as she looked into the mirror, a sudden wave of nausea hit her, and without warning, she began to cough blood into the sink. Shock and fear flashed across her face as she tried to stifle any sound, not wanting to wake John. Her hands trembled as she rinsed her mouth, the metallic taste lingering. She couldn't comprehend what had just happened, and panic set in. Quietly she cleaned up, hoping the ordeal would pass without disturbing John's peaceful slumber. Back in bed, Emma lay wide-eyed, staring at the ceiling. The room was silent except for the rhythmic breathing of John beside her. Thoughts raced through her mind. What was that? Why did it happen? She couldn't find any answers, and a sense of unease lingered as she drifted back to sleep. The next morning, Emma awoke with sunlight streaming through the curtains. She blinked away the remnants of sleep and glanced at John, who was still peacefully dreaming. A strange sense of relief washed over her. Maybe it was just a weird one-time occurrence, she thought. As she got out of bed, Emma reassured herself. It was probably nothing. Maybe I just ate something weird. She went about her morning routine, trying to push the unsettling incident to the back of her mind. In the kitchen, John, now awake, greeted her with a smile.
"Morning, love. Did you sleep well?"
Emma hesitated for a moment, then mustered a smile of her own. "Yeah, pretty well," she decided, not to burden him with the strange incident from the night before. Over breakfast, John chatted about their plans for the day, unaware of the unsettling experience Emma had gone through. Trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, Emma joined in the conversation, though her thoughts occasionally drifted back to the mysterious episode. The next day dawned and Emma tried to shake off the fatigue that lingered from the night before. She found herself coughing intermittently, the worry intensifying as she remembered the unsettling episode. Breathing felt a little bit laboured, and a sense of unease settled in. John, ever attentive, came into the room with a cheerful smile.
"Babe, are you ready for the party? It'll be fun and I want you to be there with me."
Emma hesitated, feeling the weight of her symptoms, but she didn't want to spoil John's evening. She managed a weak smile and said, "I'm sorry, John, I'm not feeling well. I think I'll stay home and rest." Concern clouded John's face.
"What happened, love? I can stay with you. We don't have to go to the party."
Emma, not wanting to burden him further, gently insisted, "No, you go and enjoy. I just need some rest. I'll be fine. Promise." Reluctantly, John agreed.
"All right, but call me if anything happens, okay? I don't want you to be alone if you're not feeling well."
Emma reassured him. "I will, don't worry. Go have a good time." As soon as John left, Emma pondered her next steps. She felt it was time to seek professional help. She decided to visit a nearby clinic, and after a brief wait, she found herself in front of a concerned-looking doctor. The doctor listened attentively as Emma described her symptoms. After a thorough examination, the doctor looked at her with a furrowed brow.
"Given your symptoms, I'd like to run a few tests to rule out any potential issues. We must get a clearer picture of what's going on."
Emma nodded, her worry growing. "Yes, please, I just want to know what's happening." The doctor ordered a series of tests, and as Emma waited for the results, her mind raced with possibilities. She couldn't help but think back to that night when she coughed blood. The memory sent shivers down her spine, and the uncertainty of her health weighed heavily on her. After what felt like an eternity, the doctor returned with the results. Emma anxiously waited for the verdict, her palms slightly sweaty. The doctor's expression was a mix of concern and seriousness.
"Emma, the test reveals some abnormalities. I would recommend further investigation, possibly some more specialized tests to get a clearer diagnosis. It's crucial to address this promptly."
Emma felt a lump in her throat but tried to maintain composure. "What could it be, doctor?" The doctor replied cautiously.
"It's too early to say for certain. We need more information. I'll refer you to a specialist who can conduct additional tests and provide a more accurate diagnosis. It's important not to delay any further."
Emma nodded, her mind racing with a mix of fear and determination. "Thank you, doctor. I appreciate your honesty." As she left the clinic, Emma grappled with a flood of emotions. The path ahead was uncertain, and the mystery that had begun with a single episode of coughing blood now demanded her full attention. Meanwhile, John headed to the bar, and the bar's lively atmosphere pulsed around him as he settled into the evening with Austin and Ashley. The vibrant lights and laughter echoed through the air as they enjoyed the party, but Ashley couldn't help but glance over her shoulder, searching for Emma. "Hey, John, where's Emma?" Ashley asked, a hint of concern in her voice. John, taking a sip of his drink, sighed.
"She's not feeling well, so she decided to stay at home and rest. I guess we're having fun without her tonight."
Austin chimed in.
"Well, she'll have to make up for it next time, but let's enjoy the night."
As the trio immersed themselves into the festivities, John felt the weight of Emma's absence. Trying to shake off the unease, he decided to order a drink. Heading to the bar, he took a seat and ordered a drink. The bartender swiftly prepared the drink, placing it in front of John. As he took a sip, a familiar voice ordered the same drink. "One vodka martini, please." John's eyes widened in surprise, and he turned to see Vivian, his high school first love, casually seated next to him. She looked unchanged, with an air of confidence ordering the drink without a second thought. Vivian focused on her glass, took a sip, and without looking at John, she casually greeted. "Hey, John, hope you still remember me." John, caught off guard by the unexpected reunion, stammered,
"Vivian? Is that you?"
He couldn't believe the twist of fate that brought them together after all these years. Vivian finally turned to face him, a playful smile on her lips. "Yes, it's me. Long time no see." John, aware of Vivian's presence, took a deep breath before responding to her question about his life.
"Life's been good, Vivian. I'm happily married to Emma and we have a couple of wonderful kids. It's been quite a journey."
Vivian, maintaining a composed exterior, smiled. "That's wonderful to hear, John. I'm glad you found happiness." As John continued to share snippets of his life with Emma, he noticed a subtle shift in Vivian's demeanour. A fleeting discomfort crossed her face when he spoke about his family, but she quickly masked it with a polite nod. John, picking up on the nuanced change, felt a mix of emotions. He couldn't help but wonder if Vivian harboured feelings from their past. Yet he remained focused on the love he had for Emma and the life they had built together. However, as the evening drew to a close, John decided it was time to head home. He waved to Ashley and Austin, bid them farewell, but before he could make a clean exit, Vivian spoke up. "John, it was great catching up. Can I have your number? Maybe we could continue the conversation sometime," she asked, her tone holding a hint of hesitancy. John hesitated for a moment, conflicted by the memories of the past and the commitment he had to Emma. However, a part of him couldn't resist the allure of reconnecting with an old friend. With a somewhat reluctant smile, he agreed.
"Sure, Vivian. Here's my number."
As he handed her his contact details, John couldn't ignore the complexity of the situation. He felt a mixture of nostalgia, loyalty to Emma, and a twinge of uncertainty about what the future might hold. With a final wave to Ashley and Austin, John left the bar, the night air carrying a sense of unresolved emotions. As he walked away, John wondered about the choices ahead. The unexpected reunion with Vivian had stirred dormant feelings that left him grappling with a flood of memories. Little did he know that this chance encounter would set the stage for a series of events that would test the strength of his commitment to Emma and the life they had built together. Emma returned home from the clinic, the weight of uncertainty heavy on her shoulders. She had taken the tests, and the doctor's words lingered in her mind. Fear crept in as she considered the possibilities that lay ahead. She slipped into bed, her mind swirling with thoughts. The room felt suffocating, and she wished for a moment of peace amid the storm of emotions. As she lay there, her fear manifested in the form of shallow breaths and restless thoughts. The door creaked open and Emma's heart skipped a beat. She saw John entering the room, a concerned expression etched on his face. He scanned the room looking for her, and Emma instinctively closed her eyes, feigning sleep. John approached the bed, his eyes lingering on Emma's face. He reached out, gently brushing a strand of her hair from her forehead.
"Emma, love, are you asleep?"
he whispered, his voice filled with worry. Emma, unsure of how to face him with the weight of her concerns, remained still, feigning sleep. She felt a mix of guilt and fear, afraid that the truth might spill out in the vulnerability of the moment. John sighed, seemingly convinced that Emma was asleep. He sat beside her for a moment, his hand lightly resting on hers.
"I wish you were here with me tonight,"
he whispered, unaware of the turmoil in Emma's mind. As John got up to change and settle into bed, Emma couldn't shake the fear that he would somehow sense the turmoil within her. She lay in the darkness, her mind racing, contemplating the uncertainties that lay ahead. The night unfolded in silence, broken only by the soft sounds of the household settling into sleep. Emma, still feigning slumber, listened to the rhythm of John's breathing, the reassurance of his presence contrasting with the turmoil within her. The darkness held secrets, and Emma found herself caught between the shadows of her fears and the love that surrounded her. She wanted John to have a happy life. The next morning cast a soft glow into the room as Emma pondered how to approach the delicate situation. She contemplated what reason she could give John for going to the clinic without causing undue worry. John, still in the embrace of sleep, remained oblivious to the thoughts swelling in Emma's mind. As Emma quietly contemplated her plan, John's phone buzzed with a message. The screen illuminated, revealing a message from Vivian. Emma, catching a glimpse of the lock screen, felt a twinge of curiosity and concern. She wondered if this was the same Vivian John had mentioned the night before. John stirred awake, his phone still in his hand. Emma decided to push aside her curiosity for the moment and greeted him with a warm smile. "Good morning," she said, leaning over to give him a gentle peck on the cheek.
"Morning," John replied, still half asleep. He stretched and yawned, seemingly unaware that Emma had caught a glimpse of the message from Vivian. Emma got out of bed and headed to the bathroom, leaving John to fully wake up. As she freshened up, John, now more alert, glanced at his phone and saw the message from Vivian. Alarmed, he quickly sat up and read the text, contemplating how to respond. Vivian's message popped up again, this time asking, "Can we meet today?" John hesitated, his mind caught between the past and the present. Eventually he replied, "Yeah, okay," and quickly hid his phone under the pillow as Emma returned from the bathroom. John, trying to act nonchalant, mentioned he needed to go somewhere for a business meeting. Emma, perhaps relieved that John would be out for a while, responding with an enthusiastic, "Okay." As John prepared to leave, Emma seized the opportunity to express her plans. "I have a few errands to run today too, just routine stuff," she explained, hoping to avoid any unnecessary questions. John nodded, seemingly accepting her explanation. "All right, take care. I'll be back soon," he said, giving her a quick kiss before heading out. Once John left, Emma took a deep breath. Relieved to have some time to herself, she quickly got ready and headed to the specialist for her checkup. The air was thick with unspoken truths, and the day unfolded with a sense of anticipation, leaving both John and Emma to navigate the complexities of their journeys, each with secrets hidden just beneath the surface. Emma, with a heavy heart, went for the checkup, as directed by the specialist. The anticipation lingered as the nurses conducted the necessary tests, and Emma patiently waited for the results. After what felt like an eternity, the doctor finally called for her. Emma entered the room, a knot tightening in her stomach as she braced herself for the news. The doctor, with a compassionate tone, urged her to calm down before delivering the unexpected blow. "Emma, I'm afraid the test results indicate that you have stage 1 thyroid cancer," the doctor gently revealed. The room seemed to spin as Emma grappled with the shocking revelation. Tears welled up in her eyes and a lump formed in her throat. The doctor, noticing Emma's emotional state, offered a comforting touch on her shoulder. "I understand this is a lot to take in, Emma. However, early detection gives us a good chance to treat this successfully. You're not alone. We'll be here to support you through every step of the way." The doctor continued to explain the necessary steps for treatment and the importance of regular checkups. The doctor's voice became a distant hum, as Emma's mind raced, grappling with the sudden and unexpected revelation. Amid medical jargon, treatment plans, and a whirlwind of emotions, Emma couldn't shake the worry about burdening John with her health struggles. Her thoughts raced ahead. Images of John, their children, and the life they had built together flashed through her mind. "I don't want to cause trouble for them," Emma whispered to herself, her voice barely audible in the quiet room. "He deserves to be happy with someone who is healthy and who loves him more." The doctor, noticing Emma's distant gaze, gently called her name. "Emma? Emma?" It took a moment for Emma to snap back to the present, her thoughts still lingering on the profound implications of the diagnosis. The doctor, now more directly facing her, reiterated, "It's crucial to start the treatment as soon as possible. Regular checkups will be necessary to monitor your progress. Do you have any questions?" Emma shook her head, her mind still grappling with the weight of the news. "No, I think I understand,"
she replied, her voice betraying the vulnerability beneath her composure. Emma, burdened with the weight of her diagnosis and the desire to spare John from the challenges ahead, returned home in a contemplative silence. As she stepped through the door, her mind was already formulating a plan to distance herself from John. She believed it was the only way for him to live a happy life without being weighed down by her health struggles. The coffee shop encounter with Vivian had been filled with laughter and shared memories. John, trying to lift his spirits, made his way back home. Sensing a tension in the air, he attempted to break it with a casual question.
"Had lunch, honey?"
he asked, desperately seeking a connection with Emma. Emma, however, couldn't bring herself to share the truth. She shook her head, her gaze avoiding his eyes. She knew where he had been, having glimpsed the text from Vivian in the morning. The plan was set in motion, and Emma had decided to distance herself from John, convincing him that she was angry and resentful. As she was determined to create a path for John's happiness, she took a bold step. Late in the evening, after John had settled into a quiet routine at home, Emma discreetly took Vivian's phone number from John's phone. She hesitated for a moment, grappling with the weight of the decision she was about to make, but the urgency of her plan propelled her forward. Taking a deep breath, Emma dialed Vivian's number. The phone rang a few times before Vivian's voice answered with a curious, "Hello?" "Hi, Vivian, this is Emma." Emma introduced herself, her voice steady but laden with the gravity of the situation. There was a moment of stunned silence on the other end, and then Vivian responded, "Emma, what a surprise. How can I help you?" Emma wasted no time. "I know this might sound strange, but I need to share something with you. Please, promise me you won't mention it to John in this lifetime." Vivian, intrigued and slightly taken aback, agreed. "Okay, I promise. What is it?" Emma took a deep breath before revealing her secret. "I've been diagnosed with stage 1 thyroid cancer. I've decided to keep it from John. I want him to live a happy life without the burden of my health struggles. That's why I'm reaching out to you." Vivian, processing the unexpected revelation, felt a mix of sympathy and surprise. Emma continued. "I want you to know that I'm not here to confront you or create drama. I love John. I know you still care for John, and I want him to be happy. Pursue him, Vivian. I believe he deserves someone who can give him the happiness and health that I might not be able to provide." Vivian, caught off guard, hesitated for a moment before responding, "Emma, I didn't expect..." Cutting her off, Emma continued, "And seeing him happy is my priority. I can't give him that anymore." Vivian, caught in the complexity of emotions, hesitated for a moment. Emma, sensing the weight of her request, pressed on. "I need you to promise me, Vivian. Promise me that you'll be there for him. Make him happy. Never tell him about my condition. Can you do that?" After a thoughtful pause, Vivian responded, "Yeah, okay, I understand, Emma. I'll be there for him. You have my word." Emma, grateful for Vivian's understanding, whispered a heartfelt, "Thank you," before ending the call. The die was cast, and Emma's plan to pave the way for John's happiness was set in motion. The complexities of their intertwined lives was unravelling in unexpected ways, and the consequences of these choices would shape the course of their futures. As days unfolded, Emma's plan to distance herself from John intensified. The once harmonious atmosphere in their home now echoed with the discord of frequent arguments and bitter exchanges. One evening, tensions reached a breaking point. Emma, unable to contain the anger and resentment that had been simmering beneath the surface, erupted in frustration. "John, can't you see anything? You're so oblivious to everything around you," she exclaimed, her voice laced with bitterness. John, taken aback by the sudden outburst, responded defensively. "Emma, what are you talking about? I don't understand why you're so angry all the time." Emma, fueled by her determination to push John away, shot back, "You never understand, do you? Maybe you should spend more time with someone who cares about you." The heated argument continued, each word creating a deeper rift between them. Vivian, by the plan, took the opportunity to contact John more frequently. Innocuous at first, the conversations gradually became a source of comfort for John, who found solace in the familiarity of an old friend. One day, after another intense argument with Emma, John decided he needed a break from the turmoil at home.
"I need some space, Emma,"
he declared, frustration etched on his face. Emma feigned indifference, responded coldly.
"Fine, go wherever you want. Maybe you'll find someone who appreciates you."
In their crumbling relationship, Vivian seized the chance to be the support John needed. She reached out, offering a sympathetic ear and shared memories that seemed to provide a temporary escape from the chaos at home. As John and Vivian met more frequently, Emma observed the growing distance between them. Her plan appeared to be working, but the toll it took on her emotionally was evident, despite the facade of anger and resentment. Emma couldn't escape the pain of seeing John slip away. John, grappling with the challenges at home, found solace in the company of Vivian. As the complexities of their intertwined lives played out, the consequences of Emma's decisions unfolded in ways none of them could have anticipated. Vivian, caught in the complexities of emotions, finally confessed to John.
"John, I have to be honest with you. I've started to have feelings for you."
John, shocked with the unexpected revelation, couldn't find the right words to respond. The weight of the situation bore heavily on him. Feeling a rush of conflicting emotions, John abruptly left Vivian's presence and headed back home. The words lingered in his mind, and the turmoil within him mirrored the storm that awaited him at home. Upon returning, John was met with an already tense atmosphere. Emma, fueled by a mix of resentment and sadness, initiated another argument seemingly out of nowhere. The exchange escalated into a full-blown confrontation, with both parties airing grievances and frustrations that have been building for weeks.
"I can't take this anymore, Emma," John finally shouted, his patience worn thin. "We need to put an end to this. Maybe it's time for us to go our separate ways."
Emma, her eyes welling with tears, agreed with a heavy heart.
"Maybe you're right, John. Maybe we're just not meant to be together."
In a whirlwind of emotions, John left the house, his mind clouded with confusion and sadness. He found himself seeking solace in the company of Vivian, returning to her side. The pain and vulnerability of the moment led him to a path of physical comfort, a momentary escape from the chaos of their respective lives. Meanwhile, Emma, left alone in the empty house, couldn't hold back her tears. The success of her plan came at the cost of her happiness. The reality of the separation hit her, and she grappled with the consequences of the choices she had made. In the aftermath of their fights, John and Emma decided to part ways, officially. They went through the process of divorce, severing the ties that had once bound them. John, despite having occasional thoughts about Emma, forged ahead with his life, choosing a new path with Vivian. As the days turned into weeks, Emma faced the aftermath of her plan. The empty house echoed with the memories of a life that once was, and the pain of losing John became a constant companion. Yet, amid heartbreak, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that perhaps in the pursuit of John's happiness she had sacrificed her own. As Emma navigated the aftermath of her plan, the weight of her actions began to take a toll on her health. The house, once filled with the echoes of shared laughter and love, now stood as silent witness to the consequences of her decisions. While John and Vivian forged ahead with their lives, Emma, feeling the physical and emotional strain, decided it was time to confront her reality. She sought solace in regular checkups and began the necessary treatments for her stage 2 thyroid cancer. The hospital visits became a routine part of Emma's life. The waiting rooms, once a place of anticipation for shared futures with John, now symbolized the solitude she faced. The medical procedures, the hushed conversation with doctors, and the silent moments of reflection during treatment sessions filled her days. Emma, in the solitude of her thoughts, began to question the choices she had made. The realization that her plan to distance John had resulted in her isolation hit her hard. The silent battles she fought against her deteriorating health and the emotional wounds of a failed marriage became a daily struggle. The medical professionals around her, observing her journey, offered support and encouragement. Yet Emma couldn't escape the feeling that she had willingly sacrificed her well-being in an attempt to secure John's happiness. As she navigated the challenges of her treatments, Emma found herself reflecting on the love she had lost. The laughter, the shared dreams and the warmth of companionship were replaced by the cold reality of her solitude. The house, once a sanctuary, now echoed with the loneliness that enveloped her. While John and Vivian created new memories, Emma fought a silent battle against the advancing stage of her illness. The choice to keep her struggles hidden weighed heavily on her, and the solitude she had crafted for herself became both a refuge and a prison. After 4 months, John and Vivian sat by the beach, enjoying a peaceful evening under the moonlit sky. The sound of waves providing a soothing backdrop as they shared a quiet dinner. Vivian excused herself to fetch more drinks. As she left to fetch more drinks, her phone rested on the table, silently lighting up with a new message from Emma. John, curious and unknowing about the connection between Vivian and Emma, glanced at the message on the lock screen. His eyes widened, and a mix of shock and confusion swept across his face as he read Emma's words. The message simply asked, "How is he doing?" Curiosity getting the better of him, John glanced at Vivian's phone, only to be met with the unexpected message. His heart raced, and confusion clouded his thoughts. Tears welled up in his eyes as he struggled to comprehend the connection between Emma and Vivian. The idyllic evening by the beach suddenly transformed into a storm of emotions. Vivian returned with the drinks, unaware of the turmoil that had unfolded in her absence. John, his voice trembling with a mix of anger and confusion, confronted her with the incriminating message.
"What is this, Vivian?"
he demanded, holding up the phone for her to see. Vivian hesitated to answer John's question. John shouted and asked her to explain how Emma got Vivian's contact, and why would she ask her about him. Vivian, feeling the intensity of John's anger, took a deep breath before beginning to explain.
"John, I know this is a lot to take in, but Emma reached out to me. She told me about her health, her struggles, and how she thought it was best for you to move on. I hesitated at first. I still have feelings for you, and I thought this could be a chance for us." She continued to explain about Emma's health issue. "John, Emma is facing a serious health issue. She's been dealing with stage 2 thyroid cancer," Vivian confessed, her voice tinged with unease. John's anger momentarily shifted to shock and concern as he processed the gravity of Emma's condition. "Why didn't she tell me? How could she keep something like this from me?"
he questioned, the fury in his tone giving way to a deep sense of hurt. Vivian, sensing the whirlwind of emotions in John, continued, "She thought she was protecting you. Emma wanted you to be happy, free from the burden of her illness. That's why she asked me to pursue you." John's anger, simmered confusion and hurt etched across his face.
"Why didn't you tell me? Why keep it a secret?"
Vivian, realizing the gravity of her actions, spoke with a mix of regret and sincerity. "I didn't want to be the one to break this news to you. Emma insisted that you shouldn't know. I thought by being there for you, we could find happiness together." John, frustration mounting, paced the room.
"So you went along with this plan? What about honesty? What about us being truthful with each other?"
Vivian, now feeling the weight of her choices, responded, "I know I should have told you. I was just afraid of losing you. I still care about you, John." John, struggling to process the situation, stopped pacing and faced Vivian.
"You should have given me the choice to decide how I want to handle this. Keeping secrets like this is not how a relationship should work."
Vivian, realizing the depth of her mistake, nodded. "You're right. I should have been honest with you from the beginning. I'm sorry, John." John, overwhelmed with shock and anger, still couldn't process the information he had just learnt. The beach, once a serene backdrop to their peaceful evening, now witnessed the tumultuous storm that raged within him.
"You knew about Emma's condition all this time?" John questioned, his voice quivering with a mix of frustration and sadness.
Vivian, trying to maintain composure, nodded. "Yes, John. She thought it was for the best." Anger flared in John's eyes as he processed the depth of the deception.
"For the best? How could she decide what's best for me without even telling me?"
he shouted, the waves crashing against the shore, mirroring the turmoil in his heart. Vivian reached out to him, attempting to console the man whose world had just been shattered. "John, she thought she was doing it for your happiness. She wanted you to move on without being burdened by her illness." John, torn between empathy for Emma's struggle and the betrayal he felt, pushed Vivian's comforting hand away.
"She took away my right to know. She decided my fate without even considering how I might feel. I should have been there for her."
John, overwhelmed with a torrent of emotions, fell to his knees on the moonlit beach, the weight of his guilt and grief pressing down on him. Vivian watched, her eyes filled with a mix of understanding and regret, as John's anguish spilled out. "I should have been there for her. I shouldn't have left her," John cried out, his voice carried away by the night breeze. The realization of Emma's silent struggles and the weight of her unshared burden hit him like a tidal wave. Suddenly he stood up abruptly, wiping away tears, and ran to his car. The engine roared to life as he sped towards Emma's house, his heart pounding with a desperate need to rectify the choices he had made. The journey back was a whirlwind of regret and self-reproach. John's mind replayed moments from his life with Emma. Laughter, shared dreams, and the love they once nurtured. Now facing the harsh reality of Emma's illness, he couldn't escape the gnawing guilt of leaving her in her time of need. As he approached her, the familiar sight of their once shared home intensified the knot in his stomach. He burst through the door, calling out Emma's name with a desperation that echoed through the empty spaces. The house, once filled with laughter, now felt hauntingly silent. He rushed from room to room, his heart pounding, until he found her sitting on the edge of their bed, lost in her thoughts. "Emma!" he exclaimed, his voice a mix of anguish and concern. Tears streamed down her face as she looked up, startled by his sudden appearance. John dropped to his knees, holding her face in his hands. "Why didn't you tell me? Why did you go through this alone?" he pleaded, his eyes searching her for answers. Emma, overwhelmed by a flood of emotions, could hardly speak. John, I thought I was doing the right thing," she whispered, her voice trembling. John, his anger giving way to profound sorrow, pulled her into a tight embrace. "You should have let me be there for you. We promised to face everything together, didn't we?" As the weight of the truth sank in, Emma buried her face in his chest, seeking solace. "I didn't want to burden you. I thought I could spare you the pain," she confessed. John, still grappling with the shock of the revelation, gently lifted her chin, locking eyes with her. "Emma, we're a team. Your pain is my pain. Your struggles are mine. We face them together." Regret etched across her face. Emma nodded, understanding the gravity of her choices. "I didn't want to ruin your happiness. I thought you deserved a life without this burden." John sighed, a mixture of sadness and frustration in his voice. "Emma, you are my happiness. No life is worth living without you. We can face whatever comes our way together." Emma and John sat on the living room couch, surrounded by an atmosphere heavy with unspoken emotions. The weight of Emma's illness and the emotional turbulence they had endured began to dissipate as John, overwhelmed with regret, turned to Emma. "Emma, I'm so sorry." John's voice quivered as he looked into her eyes. "I should have never left you, especially during your time of need. I failed you." Tears welled up in Emma's eyes, not of sadness, but of a mixture of relief and the profound impact of John's apology. She reached for his hand. "John, we both made mistakes. What matters now is that we are in this together." But the torrent of emotions within John couldn't be contained any longer. He broke down. The weight of guilt, regret, and the realization of the pain he had caused Emma overwhelmed him. His tears flowed freely, a cathartic release of pent-up emotions. Emma moved closer, wrapping her arms around him, offering comfort and understanding. "It's okay, John. We're here now. Let's focus on moving forward together." For almost 2 days, John allowed himself to confront the depths of his remorse. Emma remained a steady presence by his side, providing silent support and a reassuring touch. As the tears subsided, they engaged in heartfelt conversations, laying bare their vulnerability and fears. During those days, they rediscovered the strength of their bond, a connection that adversity had tested but not broken. Emma's forgiveness was not just an act of compassion, it was a testament to the enduring love they shared. In the quiet moments of reflection, John and Emma found solace in each other's presence. They discussed the path forward, not just in terms of Emma's treatment, but also in rebuilding the trust and intimacy that had been fractured. Emma, with a gentle smile, looked at John. "We can't change the past, but we can choose our future. Let's face this journey together, John." John, wiping away the last traces of tears, nodded with determination.
"I want to be here for you, Emma. Always."
With a newfound determination, John delved into extensive research, leveraging every resource and connection to find a cure for Emma's thyroid cancer. Weeks of tireless effort and sleepless nights led to a breakthrough, a glimmer of hope that promised to change their lives. One day, after 3 weeks of relentless pursuit, John burst into the house, his face beaming with excitement.
"Emma! Emma!"
he exclaimed, lifting her off her feet.
"I found it! I found the cure for your cancer. We're leaving in 2 days for your operation. You'll be all right soon."
Emma, overwhelmed with emotion, couldn't hold back her tears of joy. John gently placed a kiss on her forehead, reassuring her that a brighter future awaited. As the day of the operation approached, Emma couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and hope. John had left no stone unturned in his quest to find a cure, and his unwavering determination became a beacon of optimism for them both. The morning of the operation arrived, and John stood by Emma's side, holding her hand as they navigated the corridors of the hospital. Their love and resilience echoed through the walls, creating a melody of hope amidst the sterile surroundings. The medical team prepared for the surgery, and as Emma was wheeled into the operating room, John whispered words of encouragement, promising to be there when she woke up. The door closed, leaving John in the quiet waiting room, where time seemed to stand still. Hours later, the door swung open, revealing a weary but triumphant medical team. John's heart raced as he stood, awaiting news about Emma's condition. The surgeon approached him with a smile.
"The operation was a success. We were able to remove the cancer and she is in recovery now."
Relief flooded over John as he thanked the medical team profusely. He rushed to Emma's side, finding her in a peaceful slumber. He held her hand, whispering words of love and gratitude for the second chance they had been given. In the days that followed, Emma's recovery progressed steadily. John was her constant support, ensuring she felt loved and cherished every step of the way. The hospital room transformed into a haven of laughter and joy as friends, family, and their children gathered to celebrate Emma's victory over cancer. As Emma regained her strength, they returned home to the warm embrace of their family and friends. The journey of healing wasn't just physical, but also a reaffirmation of the bonds that held them together. Life resumed its normal rhythm, with Emma and John savouring the precious moments they had. Their love, tested by the trials of illness and separation, emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. The echoes of joy reverberated through their home as they gathered for family dinners, shared laughter with friends, and relished the simple joys of everyday life. The scars of the past were replaced by the promise of a brighter future. With each passing day, Emma's health improved, and the memory of the tumultuous times they had endured became a testament to their enduring love. The once clouded horizon now shone with the brilliance of a renewed life. John and Emma, surrounded by the support of their family, children, friends, Austin and Ashley, embraced the joy of being together again. The house echoed with laughter, shared meals, and the warmth of companionship. Emma, once confined by the shadows of illness, now revelled in the beauty of each moment. The simple joys of family, friendship, and love became the pillars of their happiness.